and welcome to Stampin' Chat Live. I'm Gina from Gina K Designs, and it's great to see all of you here coming in from all around the world. I always keep my headphones in because I like to listen to the music at the beginning. It's so fun and uplifting. Well, I hope you guys are all staying warm where you are, and if you're somewhere warm, I have to tell you I'm a little jealous because we are freezing here in Wisconsin right now. I think the actual temperature this morning when I was driving to work was -4. So Tom and I have been walking around all day trying to get warm. I've got my Thermajane underwear on, and I am doing my best. I had nice clothes to wear tonight, and I just couldn't take this sweatshirt off. Just a little bit too cold. But before we get started tonight on what we're going to be doing, let's say hello to Tom. Hey, Tom, come on in.
We're wearing our ice blue.
Our ice... Seriously, how cold was it this morning?
Yes, we should be wearing like golden yellow or orange, right?
Something to warm us up? Do you think the color is going to help? I don't know.
No. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Crafter Dinner Crowd.
We are glad to be back. We did a premiere on Thursday, and we always love doing that because we get to chat live with you in the comments, and I actually get to read and see every comment. I mean, half the time I can't even... Just waiting to see what you're going to do. Are you trying to bring birds in for the summer or something? I don't know what you're doing up there. But we did a premiere, and Tom was so funny in the comments, and I love the premieres because we get to actually read every comment. Normally on a night like tonight, Tom, you've got all the dials and everything in front of you, and sometimes you miss comments, I miss comments, and so that was really fun. But tonight we're live again, right?
We are live, I believe.
Yeah, we are.
Let's reality check. Yes, we are live.
Yep.
Welcome.
So, do you have a word of the day or something later?
I have a word of the day.
All right. Well, I'm excited to hear about that.
Straight from our lives.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Here we go. All right. Well, tonight we're going to do something fun. I'm going to show you a technique called Mitered Corners, and this is a technique that you can use with any kind of die. You don't have to have Master Layouts 18, but I'm going to be using Master Layouts 18 for it. Now, this is the die that I'm going to be using. Let me show you here from Master Layouts 18, and when it's cut, it looks like this. It's got stitching. You can see the stitching, so stitching might be blown out a little bit in the light and hard to see, but it does have some stitching there. And then it's basically a nice thick wide frame. Now, if you don't have Master Layouts 18, you can do something similar by cutting out Master Layouts 2 and then choosing some sort of smaller rectangle die to cut out for the center. Although it may not be perfectly symmetrical all around, you'll still be able to mimic this technique if you want to play along and if you want to try it. All right, and my idea tonight was to make a card. I've got a sample card here that I had made for my release party, but I wanted to do wood graining around here. So this is what I'm going to try to do tonight. So I thought about it, and I thought, well, I could just wood grain down the panel. And yes, you certainly can do that. However, if this were a real wooden frame, it would have these mitered corners where it'd be wood grain going this way, but then also wood grain going that way. So that's what we're going to do tonight. So let's start off by getting the big die cutting machine out. And we're going to cut one of the Master Layouts 18 panels out of white. And then we're going to do some wood graining. And while I have the die cutting machine out, I'm also going to cut one of the panels from Master Layouts 2, well actually 2 of them, that fit perfectly behind this. I really only need to do one in black, so I'll do that. But here I have my, let me see if I can move this up a little bit, or maybe just zoom out a little bit, because I want to show you. With these big, thick dies like that, whoa, that was really far out. Let's at least cut off the end of the table there. With these big, thick dies, it really does pay to turn them like this when you're running it through your intercut or any die cutting machine. It helps to not let the plates warp as much. You know, you won't have that warping going on quite as much if you turn them a little bit. It takes some of the pressure off because this corner kind of goes through and leads the way. And also, if you're using your regular plates, make sure that you are always turning them over each time you use them, and that will help a little bit too. Now, I mean, these plates are consumable, and over time they do warp. There's not a whole lot you can do about it. But can the Tim Holtz Bigs dies fit through this machine? Yes, they can. And that is what this plate is for. This plate is the adapter plate, and this is for the steel ruled dies, and that's what the Tim Holtz Bigs dies are. Any of the Sizzix Bigs dies are the ones that are real thick, and they're called steel ruled dies. They're different than wafer thin dies. They're steel ruled, and so yes, you can use this plate instead. So there is instructions in the instruction manual on how to use them with the steel ruled dies. So just check that out. Okay, where is my pick and stick tool? I know I had it here just a minute ago. Let me see if I can't find it. I might have another one. You know, I haven't even started yet, and I've already lost something on this desk. So I don't even know what to say about that. Let's see if I can find another one here somewhere. Where in the heck? All right, well, I don't know what to do, because I'm not going to be able to get this die out unless I have my pick and stick tool. Let's see. It's around here somewhere. Did it fall on the floor? Sorry about this, guys. This is one thing. Tom, you might have to get me one from the... So while Tom is getting me one, he's going to run to the warehouse and get me one. I will cut one of these black panels using Master Layouts 2. Luckily, we have some pick and stick tools. I had it in my hand a minute ago. You know the minute he gets back, I'm going to find it. I might even find it beforehand. So I'm going to cut this. This is the plain die from the Master Layouts 2 die set. And I told you guys on release party night that the Master Layouts 18 coordinates with Master Layouts 2. So, as do a lot of our die sets. So what I mean by that is once you cut this out and you cut this die out, they will layer perfectly together to create that little shadow layer. Okay? So that's why I needed to cut one of these out. And then I'm going to cut a plain one out using my paper cutter, because that one's going to be a little bit smaller and I'm going to stamp on it first. All right, you know I'm going to find it because I think I hear him coming. So now it's time to actually look, right? And find it. Probably doesn't even know where to look for it. So, oh, I hear him. Did you find it? Did you find one? I still have not found mine. Thank you. All right, a brand new pick and stick tool. No, those are my blending brushes. It's around here somewhere, but it's okay. I can have a new one. All right. So here's a brand shiny new pick and stick tool. I'm going to poke this out with the little hole that's in this die. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate it. And then there's the frame. Now I can show you this again. Hello, everybody. Welcome. I see you guys all coming in. Now you can see that that is going to give me the perfect little shadow layer right around the perimeter. Okay. So we've cut that out, and now it is time to do some mitering. Tom, you taught me that word a long time ago. I didn't know what a miter was, and you said, oh, we need a miter saw for something. And that's when I learned about mitering. Ooh, look at that, a brand new wax tip. It's kind of exciting.
How come I never learned about mitering?
You told me about it.
That must have been the end of it.
That was the last time you mitered anything, right? All right, so I'm going to use our grip mat here. Actually, I'm going to zoom in a little bit too so you're able to see this better. Zoom in a little bit more. Welcome, everybody. Oh, my goodness. V. Miller said it got up to 79 in Orlando today. You know, we're all of us up north are jealous. All right, so I'm going to just stick this onto the grip mat. Now, I'm going to use some Masking Magic strips for this, and I'm going to use a couple of Post-it notes. So I'm going to take a 1/4-inch strip. You can also use a skinnier or a thicker strip if that's all you have. If you don't have Masking Magic strips, you actually can do this with a Post-it note. But I kind of like the strip. So I'm going to use the strip and the Post-it note just because I can see it a little bit better. All right. So, hi, Jennifer. I just saw Jennifer McGuire go by. Hey, Jennifer. How are you? She and I were texting earlier. Okay, so I know she's a little under the weather today. So I hope you're feeling a little better, Jen. Okay, so I put that Masking Magic strip from this corner to this corner right in here. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on this side. That corner, and then I'm going to line it up with that corner. Okay, so now I've got those Masking Magic strips on there. I feel like it's a little easier for me to be precise with the strips and then put the Post-it note on just to block the rest of this frame off. But you can do this with Post-it notes too. But any opportunity that I have to use my Masking Magic strips, I love them, so I like to do it. All right, so I'm going to start this with a Kraft ink cube. Now, I did get a new Kraft ink cube, and it's got the little stickers on the side, so I had to cut them. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wood grain some Kraft ink, just going across like that, and then I'm going to do it going the other way too. The reason I went in both directions is because I want to try to get as close as I can in there. Now I'm going to take a blending brush. I'm going to use a detail blending brush and get a little bit of Kraft ink on that blending brush. Then I'm just going to kind of rub it into the corner there. And same over here, just to fill that in a little bit, okay? And don't worry about that smudge. It's wood grain. It's going to be messy. And now I'm going to get some warm cocoa, and I'm going to go over it again with some warm cocoa. Same thing. It'll just darken it up a little bit. Okay? Now, if you want, I'm just going to leave these open. You can use a little bit of dark chocolate, something dark, charcoal brown, one of the darker browns. If you want to add even a little bit more in there that looks a little bit like, you know how wood sometimes has those little cracks in it? I know my floors do. Kind of like that. It just makes it a little bit more rugged. Okay? So now I'm going to take these off. And now I've got kind of that first board going across, right? The first color was Kraft that I used. All right, now I'm going to go over this line, and I am going to go right to the line. Maybe even just a tiny bit over the line. Not much, though. It's really wet, that ink. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So you see I'm going back in this right over the line that I just made using that same Masking Magic strip. Now I'm going to get another Masking Magic strip and I'm going to do down here. Now if these aren't sticking, because it is kind of wet ink, you could wait a minute and just let that dry for a minute, but I'm impatient, so we're just going to keep going. And now I'm going to do the same thing down here, corner to corner. Let's try that again to make sure that it's perfect, or at least better than horrible. Okay, corner to corner, and then corner to corner, like that. Okay. Now we're going to block off up here, and we're going to block off down here. And now we're going to do this one the same way. We're going to start with the Kraft ink. That's the lightest color, Kraft. All right. Maybe I should turn these over so I can see them. What I should have is my small inkstand out. Let me get that. Let me see if I have a small inkstand. I do. I do. I'm going to put my dark chocolate here just to make it easier for me to pick up the right one. And that'll help me not lose where I'm going. So these are the inkstand from the inkstand shop. And if Brianne, I see you here, Brianne, and I love you. Thank you for being here. If you wouldn't mind linking your cube stand, I think they're just so useful. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go down here with the Kraft, like that. Then I'm going to add a little bit of the warm cocoa in there just to darken it up a little bit. And then I'm going to finish it up, add a couple little lines here with this dark chocolate. Okay. So you see that? Now we're going to color that in a little bit so it's not so stark white. But you want to have that, you want to see that a little bit. I'll be just taking a tiny little bit of Kraft ink and just with this detail blending brush, just kind of going over it a little bit to soften it. So it's not so stark white, but it makes it look like a real wooden edge. Isn't that fun? Okay. So now I'm going to I'll do this side over here, since we have that all protected. Did I already do this one? I just want to make sure that it's in the right spot. Yep, it is. Okay. Now we'll do the same thing over here. We're going to take the Kraft pad and did the Kraft. Now we're going to do the warm cocoa. Just add a little bit of that in there. And then we will add just a little bit of the dark chocolate. Just to add some of those lines, those dark walnutty colored lines. Okay, now we're going to take this one off up here. And again, we're going to have a little white line. But that's okay. We're going to fill that in with a little bit of Kraft here. Just a little bit, you know, you don't want to like overdo it because you want to make sure that you see the line. Isn't that fun? And it makes a big difference than just doing the wood graining down the thing and cutting it out. This looks more like the pieces of wood. What do you think of this, Tom?
That looks amazing.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it almost falls inward, pitches inward towards the picture.
Yeah, it does. All right, so here we go. We're going right on the line there to the corner. And we're going to do the same over here on this side. Okay, and now we'll just put this Post-it note back here again, and this one, and we'll finish up our frame, starting with Kraft, just gliding along. And then some warm cocoa. And then we'll add those little wooden marks, those lines in there with some of this dark chocolate. There we go. Okay. Take that off. Look at that. Isn't that cool? It just looks like an old frame from an antique store. And we'll add just a little bit of Kraft up here.
Some viewers are saying there's screen looks the wood looks a little greenish.
Oh, really?
Is it not?
It's not. It's pretty brown. That looks green. It could be your monitor. Sometimes, you know, monitors the coloring, but that looks pretty brown. How does it look on your iPhone, Tom? Does it look pretty brown to you?
I could see what they mean.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's got a hint.
It looks great, though.
A hue.
It's got a hue.
It's got a hue. All right, now, I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this Kraft ink and I'm just going to fill in the stitching a little bit so that the stitching isn't too white. We'll still see it, but I'm just picking up some of the ink here from the grip mat. But I'm just filling it in a little bit. Not terrible, not, you know, filling it in so that it becomes solid, but I just want to get into those little stitches so they're not super white. Okay, so now we have our mitered edges for our frame. Okay. Let's clean up the grip mat because we're going to use it again. Now remember, our inks have a smoothing agent in them, and this is going to get more subtle. It's not going to look quite as harsh. And you know, you can do this with, you know, other colors. Like if you really want like a green, or you want more of a whitewashed look with grays and blues, like soft blues, or you want to add a little bit of turquoise into this to make it look kind of like that patina kind of look. So there we go. All right, now I'm going to just put this aside, and then we are going to put the grip mat into here. And let me close these up so that I don't lose these. But this inkstand, when you're doing stuff like this, you know, because we have the name on the top, you can do our color labels and put the name on the side, like this one. But if for some reason you don't have the color labels yet or whatever, it does organize your ink pads when they're open because there isn't a color name on the bottom. Okay, that's of our new cubes. Our old cubes did have color names on the bottom, but they were like a heat printed, and if it got too hot, sometimes it would lighten up the printing. So it's good to have those little color labels. All right, for this, what I'm going to do is we're going to use this stamp set. We have, I might or might not. Very funny, Misty. We're going to use the Sending Flowers stamp set, and we're going to use this kind of piece of gauze look. And we are going to stamp that onto a piece of white cardstock. All right, we're going to just do it right in the middle here. So I'm going to stamp this with some Kraft ink, staying consistent with that Kraft color. And I'm going to use my ink pad for this because it's a little bit bigger and I feel like I'm going to get a better impression. You know, you don't get the little lines from the ink cubes as much. Although you can use them.
Question from Christy. If you're not going to use your tidy towel for a while, should you let it dry out, or is it okay to leave it in a container? Do you think it will get mildew?
You know, if you're not going to use it for a considerable period of time, I'd probably just let it dry out. This way you don't have to deal with that. Okay, I've got something on my stamp. So what I'm going to do is just flip this, and I'm going to stamp it on the other side, and I'm going to clean this stamp. I've used this stamp a few times, so I think I had like a little something left on there. Yeah, I love this stamp. I really do. I think I used Kraft on mine. Let's just see. I know it's up high. It's really okay. I think it's okay. Let's stamp it again. We'll check it out here, make sure it's okay. If not, we'll just stamp it another time. It'll be so prepped and primed and ready. Let's see. Yeah, that's going to be just fine. That's going to look great. And if you want something a little darker, I would suggest warm cocoa. But this is actually pretty deep. I mean, you'll be able to see this really well. I'm going to give it one more. There we go. Okay. That looks pretty good right there. I love this stamp. It's such a nice grounding panel for any card. You know, any rectangle that you have, you can use this in there. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is stamp my greeting. So I'm going to make this into a birthday card. I make so many like friendship cards and stuff, and I never have enough birthday cards. And when somebody's birthday comes along, I'm always amazed that I don't have enough birthday cards. So I'm going to do birthday wishes to you. And let's see, do I have a small piece of white cardstock that I don't have to do a whole big one? Probably not. You know what? I have this. This is what fell out of the frame. I'm just going to use that. It seems like this is more special because it has the stitched edge, but it's really just a small piece of white cardstock, so I can use it. All right, birthday wishes to you, and we're going to stamp this in black onyx. And I like to stamp my images, my greetings, more than one time, just lightly. And my reasoning for that is, you know, sometimes you try to get it darker by like squishing harder on it, but you lose some of the little details. And this is such a delicate font that I don't want to lose the details. So I would rather stamp it 2 or 3 times and have it be nice and crisp than like squish it and squish the stamp and make the stamp kind of, you know, spread out a little bit. I know you guys know what I'm talking about with that. All right, I'm going to put this away. And then we've got to stamp one more image. I guess I could have used a bigger piece for this. Well, you know, I was telling, somebody asked, you know, could you list all of your supplies that you're going to use? And so often I really don't know what I'm going to use, what colors I'm going to use, or even, I know like I want to do a frame, but I wasn't really sure if I was even going to use this stamp set or something else. But I decided to use this stamp set after all. Okay, so I'm going to use black again for this, and I'm using the tulips image. Tulips are a very early spring flower here in Wisconsin, and they always give me so much hope when I see them that winter's over. But it's never over. Our tulips come up and we always end up with snow on them somehow. So, but they make it. They make it through. It's pretty amazing. Tulips and crocus flowers always seem to come up really early here, and then it always snows on them. Okay, so there is that tulip image. So fun. And we'll clean this and we'll get rid of all of these stamps because we won't need them anymore tonight. trying to be good about putting my things away. I will need the die set, so I am going to take that out. And we're going to need this again, because I'm going to use it for my die cutting machine. I use this for a lot of different things. All right, now it's time to color. So I'm going to color these with some Gamsol and colored pencils. So I have my little Gamsol. It's all dried out, has nothing left in it, but I have a little bit of Gamsol left in this bottle.
What size masking magic did you use?
I used 1/4 inch masking magic strips, but you can use the 1/8 of an inch ones or even the 1/2 inch ones, because you only need the edge to go corner to corner, and then you're going to use a Post-it note anyway. So even if it's the bigger ones, it's totally fine to use them. All right, I've got some colored pencils here. I've got a bunch, and I've got a bunch of blending stumps.
And is it best to use just water to clean the grip mat?
Yes. I would just use water. If you have stains on, well, it's going to get stained because it's a stamp. It's a photopolymer slab, right? And it's got a stamp on the back, 2 stamps on the back. It's going to get stained. You can use a little stamp cleaner. I have used our Gina K Designs Ultra Clean stamp cleaner on here. But reds just stain. They just stain stamps. So, but I wouldn't use anything like alcohol. I wouldn't use any other solvents or anything, because it's going to take the tackiness away from the photopolymer stamp. Like, you never want to clean a photopolymer stamp with alcohol.
They're not stains, they're memories.
They're memories. Oh, that's so cute.
Stamping memories.
That's so cute, and it's so true. We have some of our Chucky tools in, but we don't have enough of them in yet to release them. We actually are having our Chucky tool made by a local guy who is making them by hand. And we ordered a whole bunch of them. We actually ordered 1,000 of them. And he's making them by hand. So they're really beautiful too. I can't wait to show them to you. You're going to be excited about them. But we have to have more inventory than we have right now to release them. All right, so what you can see here is I am using this pencil, Crimson Red, just to color near the bottom of the stamp. What is that tool? It's this tool. This is the Chucky tool. Chuck Meadows, who is a moderator and a friend of mine in our Facebook group, he made this for me out of a curtain finial and a furniture protector pad, and he sent it to me as a gift because he saw me struggling with my Misty. And I started using it, this was several years ago, and nobody had ever seen anything like it before. And now all these stamp companies are making their own version of this, but they're not the same. They're not the same. And there's a reason why. There's actually an ergonomic, and it's like Chuck, this is like an engineering marvel, the way that he put this together. And I've had so many samples sent to me of different things. Some people are selling air hockey paddles and they're calling them stamping press tools. And it's, people are, and they work, but they don't work like this. Chuck is brilliant. When he sent this to me, it was a brilliant idea. So I had to have it exactly like this. And it took me forever to find somebody that was willing and able to make them for me. So I promise you that when you try this, you're going to understand why it's different than everything else. It's just different. The others are good, but this is just different. And thanks again, Chuck, because if you're watching tonight, this is gold for my hands, my arthritis and all of that. It works so well. So that's what we're talking about, the Chucky tool. And yes, it will be in a Gina K Designs color. Yes. Okay, so I'm really excited about it, guys.
The Chucky tool was so much better than my invention for that.
What was your invention?
It was called the elbow. It didn't take off quite like the Chucky tool.
Oh Oh my gosh, Tom. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a blending stump, and I'm dipping it into, can we go to the overhead? And I'm dipping it into the Gamsol here, and you can see I'm making sure that it absorbs into the tip of that blending stump. What does it say? Does the Chucky tool, I'm like trying to read questions and do this at the same time. Does the Chucky tool have felt on the bottom? So yes, it does have felt on the bottom. So don't worry, Chuck thought of everything, and I asked his permission because honestly, it's his invention, you know? I feel like, you should ask him permission to copy the idea. And he was very excited about it. He said yes. So, all right, so you see I'm just bringing that color up so that it's like real light toward the top. Now, if you want a little more color than that, you can always add a little more. I'm just adding a little bit of red in here. Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of people send me different things, and, I've seen people using the air hockey paddle idea, but they're just different, and you have to have experienced the Chucky tool to know that you need the Chucky tool. So I just went a little brighter with that. Okay. All right, so now we have our red flower. Now I'm going to do a purple one. So I'm going to use this. This is just called Violet. I'm going to do a purple one right here. And then I'm going to go back in and do my technique where I add a little bit of black toward the bottom. All right. A little bit up here. And then I'm going to do a different blending stump. You can always turn that other one around too. I can't tell you when the Chucky tool is going to be available because, like I said earlier, we have a local man who is making these for us, and he's hand making them. Well, he doesn't hand make the whole part. He's got a machine that makes part of it, but then he actually hand paints them. And they're so beautiful. They're just so beautiful. I just can't wait till you guys see it. Okay, so there we've got a little purple in there. These are Prismacolor pencils. These are the Premier pencils. Now I'm going to use this color called Process Red. I think I want to use this color. Yeah, that'll be a good color. This is like more hot pink.
Tammy said, Gina, you are so patient and kind. Do you ever get angry?
Aw, that's so sweet. That's really sweet. Well, I don't know. Do I, Tom? Do I get angry? Tom? I'm getting angry.
It's happened once or twice.
Yeah, I have gotten angry before. When
a truck runs into the building, she got angry.
Yeah, a truck ran into our building and put a big hole in our wall. That made me a little angry.
No, she doesn't get
But
it.
for the most part, I don't have an angry personality.
Hangry?
Hangry, yeah, sometimes hangry. Okay, so now we have those three colored. Now I'm going to add a little black. And if you didn't watch my video, I don't know about linseed oil for this because I have not used it. But I would say if you have it, try it. If it doesn't work, let us know. I know that you can use lavender spike oil. You can use Zest It. You can use, some people use baby oil. I'm not a huge baby oil fan just because it kind of stains the paper a little bit, like it leaves an oily residue on there. I know this looks weird, right? But I'm putting a little black on here, and I'm just going to blend that black up the flower. And it does really add a lot of dimension to the flower. I'll do these two first. I'm going to go ahead and use that same pink end.
She is Sicilian.
I am Sicilian, yes. I am Sicilian.
She has made me a few offers I could not refuse.
Now, Tom, you're going to give people the wrong impression. We don't do that. So I'm going to add just a little more pink in there. And just blend that together.
Tammy wants to know, what is Gamsol?
Gamsol is an odorless mineral spirits that somebody corrected me one time and said that I said it wrong, but it's kind of what it feels like it does. So maybe I'm saying it wrong, but it kind of breaks down the wax in the colored pencil, and it allows you to, it almost like feels like it liquefies the color a little bit, and it allows you to blend the color out. So you should use this with a waxy colored pencil. So you want to make sure that you're doing it with something like that. You don't want to do this with a watercolor pencil or anything like that. You want to make sure it has a wax base, even Crayola pencils. So I always encourage people that are on a budget, if you are on a tight budget, go ahead and, pick up a couple little packs of Crayola pencils, especially when it's back to school season, because, back to school season, they're so cheap and they work too. They won't be quite as vibrant as the Prismacolor pencils because they have more wax and less pigment. But if you can afford Prismacolor pencils, they're great. And you definitely can get good deals on them too. But it's a blending agent that actually breaks down the wax a little bit, and so it makes it like liquidy and you can move the color better. But I'm sure that there's somebody out there that knows a better way to explain it. Okay, so now I'm going to use this moss green for my leaves here. Just going to do a little bit. And, the way that I color is not even like the right way to color. It's just the way that I color, and it's what makes me happy. I'm not like a professional artist or anything, and I don't necessarily, I'm not able to see the lights and the darks the way artists are. I consider myself a crafter, and I just want to make it look pretty, and I want to have lights and darks in it, even if they're not going in the right direction, if that makes sense. Now, one thing, I said it was an odorless mineral spirits, but that doesn't mean like the kind of odorless mineral spirits that you find at the hardware store. It's different. It's an artist grade, and it's different. Some people say that I'm not being truthful when I say that, but I am being very truthful. It's kind of like, I don't know, the difference between maybe a box wine and like a really fancy wine that doesn't have sulfites and is less apt to give you a headache, It's just made differently, and it's made that you can use it inside. You shouldn't use the hardware store odorless mineral spirits inside. You should use that out in your garage. So it does make a difference. And I just think, it's safer to use something like that. See, and I'm just like pulling that color over, and see how it just gets lighter? And just creates that little bit of lightness in there. And you can mix colors too. So let's say you wanted to add like a little bit of yellow in here. You could add a little yellow. And that will just brighten it up a little bit. And if you feel that that's not green enough, I have another green here. Which one is this? This is Kelly green. We could add a little Kelly green in here.
Does Gamsol work with oil-based pencils?
Well, it works with polychromos, and they're different. They are like an oil-based pencil, or they're at least different than a Prismacolor pencil. I think they're an oil-based pencil. I think I saw Karen Hightower in here, and she's like a coloring goddess. She knows so much about all this stuff. She's so good. And she might be able to answer, but I know I'm not good enough for polychromos. That's why I don't use them.
Faber-Castell?
There is Faber-Castell, but I don't know what they are. Are polychromos made by Faber-Castell? See, I don't even know. I think so, maybe. But for some reason, I remember somebody saying that they were different. They weren't wax-based, they were oil-based. Now, that might be wrong information, so I'm going to do a disclaimer before I finish that sentence, because they might not be. But if they are, yes, these work with the polychromos, because I bought myself 3 polychromos pencils to see how different they were, because all the artists were saying how good they were. And you know what? They were exactly the same to me, which means that I shouldn't have polychromos pencils. All right, so here I'm going to use a little bit of Parrot Green. I think this would be like a good color to just maybe mimic a little bit of water. I'll just like bring a little bit of color here into the side. I'm not doing anything real fancy. I'm going to smooth that out too with the Gamsol. Okay, and we'll just get one more blending stump here. I have lots of blending stumps. Oh, thank you guys. And see how it just brightens it up too, because it's like smooshing it all out. We'll just leave those little stroke marks in there. Okay. There we go. That feels a little like water, right? A little bit. It's not great, but it's better than horrible. And I think it'll look very cute on my card.
It's great.
I'll put a little bit here. Okay. Oh, you're so supportive, Tom. Okay, now let's get the die cutting machine. See, you know, some people would be smart and die cut this first instead of doing all that coloring and then die cutting it afterwards and possibly messing it up. But I like to take chances. I like to live on the edge. Look at how nice this smoothed out. Isn't that pretty? Doesn't that look like wood? I love that. Okay, I'm going to use my mini die cutting machine here. And I always cut on my grip mat because these little machines, they can kind of like slide and turn all around while you're using them. But if you use them on your grip mat, it just helps to keep it in place. Okay, let's get the die for this. And you know I'm going to tape this down. I'm not going to take any chances. I've got some masking magic sitting right over here looking at me. So we're going to... Oh, that's not even on there straight. I'll tell you. I think I want a bigger piece of masking magic. I'm going to get a 1/2 inch strip here. I like these bigger pieces. Okay. Sometimes if I have trouble, because this machine is tiny, and, you know, sometimes it's hard to get your hands in there, so sometimes I do this part, like, off the machine and then stick the plate in, but, you know, like have the plate over here and do it over here, so it's a little easier to get my hands around everything. can just put it into the machine. And let's cut away. Oh, Charlene, thank you. I do try just about anything once. All right, there it is. I love how those little bits fall out. I think that's so cute. All right. And then this, we're going to use this as the grounding panel for that. So see how nice that's going to look? Time to cut this greeting out. And let me put this die back so I don't throw it in the trash. And now we've got to find the birthday greeting for this. I know I'm way off to the side here. Probably have more room over here to do it. Let me find the right greeting. Did I happen to put them in the same spots? Well, maybe. Nope. I did not. I don't think I did. Let's see. Is this it? No. See, I recommend that you put these in the same spot that the stamp is. I do recommend that, but then I don't follow my own recommendations, and then I have to struggle a little bit to find the right die.
How long should you leave the stump in the Gamsol before using it to spread color?
I think just, watch it and make sure that it absorbs some of the Gamsol so that it like moves up the blending stump a little bit. So can you see how like on this blending stump, see how it got wet up to there? If I just dip it in, just the tip's going to get wet. But if I hold it in there, then that Gamsol will travel up, and then you've got enough in the tip to make it work. That's usually if people have trouble getting it to blend, it's because they just don't have enough Gamsol on their blending stump. Vicki, I agree. That frame would make a nice masculine card. It really would. There are so many nice masculine images that you could pop on here instead of tulips. So if you like this layout, but you're trying to do a masculine card, put a bird on instead of a flower, or put some leaves or a tree or a tiny little scene in there. And you can kind of change it up a little bit. All right. Now it is time to put this card together. Let's see. So I am going to get my paper cutter here because I am going to trim this down. This has to be smaller. So I'm going to cut. See, I want this to be up high like that. I want this to be up at the top because I want to pop my greeting up down in here like that. So it doesn't have to be too high up. So I think I'm going to cut about, let's see, this measures 5.5. I'm going to take that up to 5.25. And that should be pretty good. I should be able to get what I need out of that. Okay, so let's just trim some of this off the side. Some of this off the bottom here, and some of this off the side. Now, if you really want to be like super careful, what you can do is just stamp this onto the plain master layouts to exactly where you want it, and then you can just line those two up together. But I didn't want to cut a master layouts too, so I'm kind of cutting this down, and at some point I'm going to be sorry I'll cut it too small, but we'll see what happens. All right, a little bit more off of this side. Is this stressing you guys out too much? Would you rather me do it that way so that you can see it? Because I can, if that makes it easier for you. Why don't I do it that way? I'm going to do it that way just to make it easier for everybody. Because I want you to be able to do this, and that's going to drive you nuts. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut this white panel down to the same size as the stitch die in Master Layouts 2. All right, so they're going to line up perfectly. See that? They're going to line up perfectly. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do next is I think I'll trim it down just a tiny bit more because I don't trust my my cutting the way I would if I was cutting Master Layouts 2. I'm just going to take a thin little hair off and make sure that it's small enough. All right, now I'm going to put this into, this is the easy way to do this because we were struggling, or I was struggling. You weren't struggling, you were watching me struggle. Okay, so I'm going to lay this down here, right? And then I'm going to lay this on top of where I want it. Let's just shift it a little bit. It's a little sticky and my nails are getting caught, but all right, so I'm just going to lay that there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the stamp and I'm going to place the stamp where I want it to stamp onto that panel. So I'm going to lay it right in here like this. Now, it doesn't have to be perfectly straight. If it's not perfectly straight, you're going to be able to still trim a little bit off, but you're not going to be doing what I was doing. But that looks pretty good. And again, if it's not perfectly straight, don't stress about that because you can always trim a little bit off and shift it. Now I'm going to stamp it. I think this will just be easier for everybody. I can save that one for something else. But does that make sense? This just, you know, it gets it right to where you want it. We'll do a couple layers of this. I know we were almost done, but I had to do it. This ink will not dry on metallic cardstock, no, because it's a dye-based ink, so any dye-based ink is usually water-based. And if it's water-based, it's you have to use it on something porous, like paper or cardstock. And metallic cardstock is not porous. It is got like a coating on it. So, all right, so that might make it a little bit easier. Now, what we can do is we could take this piece of cardstock and we can cut 1/8 of an inch off. So wherever we are, we're just going to go down to the next 1/8 of an inch mark and trim. Okay, just go down to the next 1/8 of an inch mark and trim. And that just makes it easier for you when you're placing the frame to not worry about having to line it up perfectly. You know, if you turn the frame a little bit, it'll still be good. Okay, so does that make sense? Alrighty. Now, the next thing I want to do here is I want to make sure that this looks straight on here. I'm going to put that right in the middle, like that. So I'm going to put this onto the black piece of cardstock. Just going to use some tape for that. And we'll get that centered and straight. Looks pretty good. Now this we're going to pop up, so it's going to have a little dimension, almost like it's a portrait or something in a frame. So now we're going to use some of these 1/4 inch foam squares. The 1/2 inch ones are just a little bit too big. So we're going to use 1/4 inch ones. And you can use as many or as few as you want. You can also use Masking Magic strips if you want like a higher loft, because Masking Magic strips are double the height of our foam squares. If you only have foam squares but you want double the height, you can just double up on the foam squares.
Question. What brand of stumps are preferred?
So we carry them on our website. They are by Creative Mark, and they're the ones that I like the best. Some blending stumps really are, I guess, pressed too tight. Is that the way to say it? Like basically a blending stump is just pressed paper in the shape of like a little pencil-y kind of thing. And so the Creative Mark ones aren't pressed as tight as some of the other ones. And the reason that makes a difference is because some of the other ones, I can't get them to absorb the Gamsol. I just have such a heck of a time getting them to absorb.
Did you say masking magic strips when you didn't mean it? Or
when did I say? Did just now?
Yeah, Laura said she doesn't mean masking magic strips.
Oh, I did. What did I say? I don't even know what I said.
Yeah.
I probably meant foam squares. Oh, no, I meant shaker strips. Shaker strips, thank you. That's what I meant, are shaker strips. Okay, so now we've got that. See how it looks even more like a frame because it's recessed in there? Now we're going to pop this up. Oh, I feel like I'm in an art gallery. Isn't this fun? Such a fun card. We're going to pop this up. Yeah, I meant shaker strips. If I said masking magic strips, I apologize. Okay, let's put one there, and then we'll get like two little half ones over here. All right, so Tom, while I'm doing this part, how about your word of the day? I know everybody's been waiting for the day.
Okay, the word the day. So Gina and I did some shopping this weekend, right?
Yes, we did.
And we've done, how much shopping have we done in our almost 40 years?
Probably as much as anybody else.
Yeah, and I wear out a lot faster than she does. And some of the stores have like a strategically placed bench or chair or sofa, some wonderfully merciful place for, it's usually a guy, right, waiting to just chill out until your spouse is done. And we actually saw a few of those in the places we were shopping, and that, of course, is called a broasis. The broasis, a place to hang out and relax while
you see it in the distance.
The broasis. Back
Oh my gosh.
to the dead space.
All the guys sitting there. It's funny. It's a good one. I like it. Word of the day. Well, I am getting just static all over me here today with these foam square liners. Okay, and then I'm just going to pop my greeting right down here, but I popped it up because I wanted to stick with that dimension.
Oh, is that another version? The husbench?
The husbench. Oh, man.
That's
Get
excellent.
her on payroll. She,
I like that one better.
You could consult her. The husbench. Oh, all right, I'm going to apply this to a white card base, and then this card is done. We could add embellishments if you want to, but I kind of like the simplicity of this is really pretty. Now, if you look at my original card, I just cut it out with Kraft cardstock. But look at how different it looks when you miter the edges and do the wood graining. It really, Tom said this kind of looked like leather to him, and this definitely looks like wood. So which one do you like better? Do you like the plain or do you like the wood look? Hard to tell, right?
I have to say the wood is very compelling.
It's compelling?
Yes.
Yeah. I kind of like the wood too. I just feel like it's so useful. Like if you have a stamp of like a seagull or, you know, something beachy like that, wouldn't that just be the perfect frame? And you could do it in a whitewash kind of look too. Yeah. And you're right, Tom. It does kind of feel like it bevels in a little bit. I like that. All right. Well, what do you think?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to give away a gift card tonight. I have not even been on the YouTube to see where everybody's coming in from, but all you have to do is leave a comment and you'll be entered into the drawing. Tom, can you move the mouse over onto the screen? And then we're going to do that in just a minute. But before we do that, I have to tell you that we are really, really close to 200,000 subscribers. And when we hit 200,000, we're going to have some sort of party with lots of giveaways and things like that. So if you like the video, and we sure hope that you, if you wouldn't mind giving this a thumbs up, and then there's a subscribe button. If you click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell for all notifications, you'll never miss another video. And when we go live, you'll get a notification right away that lets you know that we're live. All right, we'd appreciate that. So what do you think, Tom? Give away a gift card?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it.
Are you? Okay, here we go. Drum roll, please. Woo! And the winner tonight is Janie Dollar. Janie Dollar!
Yay, Janie! Janie Dollar wins $15, a $15 gift card to Gina K Designs. All you have to do is send your name and email address to info@ginakdesigns.com, and we will send that out to you. Now, we'd love you to join our Facebook group. We have a very active Facebook group. We've got 48,000 of the nicest crafters over there. It's called Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. It's a place where people share their beautiful card projects that they make using Gina K Designs products. And then, if you see something you like and you didn't catch one of Brianne's amazing links, thank you again, Brianne Loveland. We appreciate you and love you. You can find everything I used tonight over at GinaKDesigns.com. This stamp set is part of our new Sending Flowers card kit. So if you're looking for the stamps that I used tonight, that would be in our new card kit, and the Master Layouts is Master Layouts 18. All right, everybody. Well, I already posted Thursday's video. It's going to be the next edition of our Master Layout series, and we're going to be focusing on Master Layouts 4. And then next Tuesday night, I already have that video posted too. It is our deep dive into fuse foiling gel and foil. All different ways that you can use it. So you can always head over to my channel and set a reminder for those two videos so you'll get a notification for those as well. And Tom and I are excited to see you again on Thursday for our Crafternoon Live. We go live at noon Central Time, and we hope to see you there as well. All right, everybody, in the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, stay warm. We love you all so very much, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.